So, we are today talking about how to maximize our impact and how to look, feel, and live like a leader. Now, it's a very important topic for all us women because whenever we are presenting ourselves as a woman leader, it's very important and for us to create that kind of an impact because we suffer from a lot of unconscious bias. So, my name is Pritha Dubey. I am a success coach, the founder of Success Vitamin, and I have been a woman leader for almost 17 years of my career. So today I am here with you all to answer all the queries that you have got on how to present yourself as a woman leader and how to create that impact. Now, I have got a few questions, so let us straight away head into answering the questions. Now, the first question that I have is somebody is asking that when you come back after a 3-year break, even to a managerial role, it's difficult to exude the confidence you did earlier. So, how does one regain her confidence as a leader? And I am sure that many of us who are returning back to a professional career has this particular concern in their mind. And the only thing that I would like to say is that you may have not been working in the professional world for a while, 3 years, 6 years, 8 years. At the same time, we have to understand what does it require to work in a professional career. We require certain aspects of doing our job on time, that is time management. We need to be bothered about multitasking, how if we are able to do that multitasking well. We need to ensure that the work that we do happens without much error, and the people, the stakeholder who are responsible for getting this work done well with us, we are able to manage them well. Now imagine yourself doing all these things so very well when you are even in the house, when you have taken a break and you are managing a certain aspect of your personal life. You are the CEO at that point of time and you've managed it so well. So there is no worry to be to come back to your professional world, because you should not question your self-confidence out there. These are the skills that one requires, and you already had that skills and you exhibited those skills very well during the break that you took. Now, whenever you feel a little low, a little down, do one thing, and that is my mantra. That is how I do, and this I call as a success talk. What I do here is I look back and I think of one such situation where I felt very low on confidence, and I didn't know how to come out of it. And I look at that situation when I faced something like that and what I did and how I came out of it with success. And then I tell myself that if I could do it then, I can do it even now. And that is how we are able to develop that confidence. So please go back and work with the confidence, because you have all those skills that is required. The next question that I have is what, according to you, are the 3 essential traits of a leader who can leave a legacy for others to follow? It's a very, very interesting question. Now, the traits as a leader, if I tell you the 3 most essential traits that a leader needs to have, is number 1, called being humble. Now, humility is one trait that allows the leader to admit to her own mistakes. It allows the leader to present herself as human. and not a demigod. The second trait that someone needs in a leader is called courage. Now, what is courage? The courage is basically to be able to act, um, to able to accept back. Many of us as leaders do not have the courage to go to my team member and ask them for a feedback. And without a feedback, we will never know how we are doing as a leader, because a leader is a leader only because of the team members. The third important trait that a leader should have is a discipline. Now, what do we do with the feedback? We got the feedback, but then, okay, fine, thank you. I'm not going to work on it. That doesn't work. Then it is not helping us grow as a leader. So the third important thing is the discipline to work on the feedback that we have received. Hope that answers the question. So to summarize, the three essential traits is number one, humility, number two, courage, and number three is the discipline. The third question that I have is very interesting again. It's called, I am not sure I believe in power dressing, because if you have power, when you walk into a room, the room will feel it. Yes, of course, the room will feel it if you have the power, of course. So therefore, the first thing that we need to develop ourselves is from the inside, the power, the confidence. At the same time, let us understand what power dressing does. There are two aspects that power dressing helps us achieve. One is it helps us create a positive first impression. Now, as leaders, we may be going to certain communities, certain networking events, certain place where we are representing our organization, and therefore there is a brand that we are representing. So how will those people who don't know me know my power? So power dressing helps in breaking that ice, creating that first positive impression. Now, the second aspect that power dressing helps is in building credibility. The power that I have within me will start showing only after I start working in a certain way. So say I have walked into a meeting and I am talking about and I have to basically go there and present myself. Now, before I can even start communicating, how can I build that trust with my audience? How can I present myself credibly in front of the audience? And that the power dressing helps. It makes me look exactly who I am. Okay. So I have another question, which is called, what is to be a leader? Wow, now this is something which is a very, very deep question you have asked, my dear. What is to be a leader? Now, leader is someone who is able to create a set of followers. A leader is someone who is able to leave behind a legacy. You may have direct reportees. You may not have direct reportees, and you can still be a leader. In many work front or in our friends group, sometimes in classrooms we would have seen, in our family network we would have seen, we have always have had that one person who has been our go-to person. Now, who is that person? In a friends group, there is one go-to friend. In a family network, there is that one go-to family member. Similarly, in our office culture, even though we may be at the same level, but there is that one person who is our go-to person. Do we report to that person? No. But in our mind, that person is the leader. Why? Because whenever we walk up to that person, whenever we ask a question to that person, That person is able to solve our problems. That person, we believe, will have a solution to most of our problems. And that is a leader. And that is what we need to strive to be, the go-to person for all those stakeholders whom we are working for. So look for whatever it is required by you to ensure that you become that go-to person for all the human beings that you're working with. I hope that answers your question. Now, most of the time, another question says that most of the time the values of the leader are judged. So how to come over this? Okay, interesting. Because every human being, now values are not linked to a leader. The values are linked to the human that we are. And we are born with those values, and most of us are very proud of those values that we have within us. Now, yes, sometimes people are judging those values. Now, this is a question that we need to ask ourselves. How important are these values to us? And because of these values that I am maintaining for myself, am I knowingly or unknowingly hurting others? Or is it causing some kind of inconvenience to others? Yes, then we need to look for how I can do something so that I'm able to respect my own value. At the same time, I am able to respect the value of the other person. It's very important as a leader to have mutual respect for each other. So, so we need to understand that when somebody is judging us or judging our values, they are not they are not criticizing our values per se, because they are not understanding it from our point of view. They are looking at that value from their point of view. It's like on a piece of paper. If there is a if there is a 6 written, and if it is a 6 written and I place it in front of you, from your side you will read it as 9, whereas from my side it is 6. So it's not a judgment. So the day we start not looking at others people's views about us as judgment, but the day we start looking at those views as their point of view, their perspective, relationships are going to get much better. So while questions, uh, let me also try and tell you that it is not easy to be a leader when we are trying to create an impact as women leaders. Especially, there are a lot of unconscious biases that we have to fight. But through this medium, I want to tell all you beautiful, gorgeous women that as women, we are also nurturing a lot of unconscious bias within us. Please, please overcome those unconscious biases. Recently, in on 26th of January, during our Republic Day parade, I am sure each one of us saw Captain Tanya Shergill command the troop. Now, if Captain Tanya Shergill would have said that that job is not meant for me, and if she would have nurtured that unconscious bias, oh my god, captaining that leading that troop is not my job, it's not the job of a woman, then we would not have seen history being made. So no job is impossible for us, no work is impossible for us. So please remove from your within, have this confidence that there is nothing that we can't do, that a man can do. So remember that aspect about yourself. The next question that I see here says that how can I improve my presence as a leader, create a personal brand. Each one of us has a personal brand. It is just that we don't know what kind of branding we are presenting to others who are seeing us. Now, there are always an aspect which we call as a blind spot. Now, that blind spot, what it basically means is there are some things that others can see about me, but I can't see myself because the way I am behaving. Maybe when I talk, there is some facial expressions that I usually make. It's a habit. Or the way when I talk, there is one particular word that I keep using. Say, okay, okay, or you know, you know, you know. I don't know that because that is whatever I am, the way I am communicating. It's all in my subconscious. I am not consciously saying that. But when my audience, the listeners, people who I'm working with, they are able to observe a lot of such things about me. So, so it is very important for me to first take a feedback and understand from the people who I work with that what are some aspects that I need to improve. Now, do not burden yourself with all the feedback that you are going to receive. Now, not every feedback is worth acting upon. Remember that. At the same time, whenever we are receiving a feedback, do not defend yourself. No, 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 that is not how it was. I didn't mean that, or you misunderstood me. No, it was their perception. They saw it in a certain way, so they gave you that feedback. So, what is our job? To show that humbleness, to show that humility, and say thank you. Then it is our prerogative to select which of these feedbacks I want to work on. So, now select those two aspects that you want to work on and work on that and create that as your personal brand and start working on it. Now, the personal brand works on three things. One, people do talk about appearance, how this person dresses up. So, yes, please be a little focused on how we dress up. The minute we step out, remember there is something that I always say, this is like my mantra, that you are a walking business card. You don't have to present your business card to let the world know that I am a leader. The way I walk, the way I behave, and the way I communicate should be good enough to convey to the world that I am a leader. So create a personal brand. Start from your appearance. Work on the communication. Think and talk. Many times we just react. Somebody has said something and I reacted. Think and talk. And maintain the etiquette. The corporate etiquette, the business etiquette, the etiquette of giving a business card, for example, the etiquette of handshake. Many a times in our country, we do not know what is the right way of doing a handshake. Now, in the gender equal environment, corporate environment, it doesn't matter who initiates the handshake first. At the same time, I always say in India, because we are a little touch sensitive culture, be the first person. You being the leader, you be the first person to initiate the handshake. And give a very firm handshake, not a queen's handshake. Give a very firm handshake indicating that you are a leader. The next question is influencing important in leadership, and how do we become good at it? What is the other job of a leader if not influence? We are not supposed to go and do the other person's work. No, that is not our job. Our job is to influence the other person in such a way that the other person willingly does the job. Now, there are two differences. One is my team member or the stakeholder with whom I am working with is doing the job because I have asked the person to do the job. Now, there it is a question of compliance. The person is complying to my orders. There is no personal accountability there. And the other second aspect is the person is doing the job willingly, because I've asked, because the person loves me and I've said that, so there is a willing cooperation towards doing that job. Now that willing cooperation comes out of influencing, how well I have been able to influence. Now these influences can be developed. There are a lot of aspects, a lot of steps that we need to take. But the first and foremost thing that as a leader we need to develop is personal relationship, interpersonal skills. How am I with the other person? Remember, whenever we are dealing with another stakeholder, that other person is human. So most of our transactions that we are having in today's world is human to human transactions. So the day we start treating the other person as human, and we therefore show respect and kindness towards the other person, relationships become stronger. We are able to develop trust, and therefore we would be able to influence. Apart from that, it's a long skills, and there are many other things that we need to do, and probably if you connect with me one on one, I'll be able to help you out with this, because now it is time for us to start taking the questions, because we have half an hour. I have to take a lot of questions. Um, okay, now we have a very interesting question again, and this question is there a possibility to restart a career in leadership role? Yes, of course. Why not? If you believe you are a leader and you've never given up on your leadership, and if you have that confidence, you can definitely restart a career in leadership role. It always has happened, and I have seen plenty of examples of women taking a break and then coming back to that leadership role. And I'm sure you also have many such examples around you. What advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders? I have been giving advice all this, I think, 25 minutes that I have been talking. It doesn't matter which generation you belong to as a leader. Yes, remember that whichever generation's leader you are, working with millennials is a little tricky, because treating them is it requires certain skills. The millennials, older generation, my generation, and previous generations, we had a very different value system. For us, our leader is a senior position, and we always respected seniority. Millennials respect knowledge. Millennials respect how you are adding value to their lives. So irrespective of whether you're senior or not, the respect may come for anyone, for them. So when we are managing millennials, understand that the old school leadership skill may not work with them. They may not just say, "Oh, I have told you so." The authoritative or the autocratic style of leadership may not work with the old school. So I believe, therefore, we need to be a little careful when we are working with them, and therefore, I think, otherwise, every aspect that we spoke about being a leader, just follow that. And the next question is, yeah, now this is something which I keep getting all the time. Whenever I have done the women leadership programs in any, whether it's an open workshop that I have conducted, or I have been to these organizations and I have conducted these women leadership workshops for corporate, this is one question I keep getting. How can women lead the teams of mostly male colleagues? Why is it so difficult? And what is it that troubles you so much to manage male colleagues? Now, understand one thing. I always say that women are always better leaders than men. You know why? Because the EQ, the emotional quotient of a woman is much higher than that in a man. So therefore, when women works as a leader, there are the aspect of building relationships, understanding the team, being empathetic. These things are much higher. So therefore, the team finds itself very protected and finds itself in a very safe zone with a woman leader. At the same time, a woman, when she is assertive, it's much easier for her to 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 communicate her thoughts to a team than a man, because there is a possibility that a male leader, and this is something that I keep teaching and keep coaching my male leaders, because of the design that they have, they tend to become a little aggressive. So we can be assertive, and because of and at the same time, we can get ourselves heard very well. So irrespective of who your team members are, whether you have male colleagues or female colleagues, the job of a leader is gender agnostic. Leadership as a skill has to be looked at and developed differently, whether you are a man or a woman, whether you are managing a set of male colleagues or you are managing a set of, or you are leading a set of female colleagues. Leadership as a skill has to be developed first, and know your job, know what is your responsibility, and those KPIs and the KRAs would have and fulfill irrespective of whether you are a male leader or a female leader. So, and you will have to get this done irrespective of whether you have male colleagues or female colleagues. So please focus on your leadership and develop that. And don't think that I'm a woman leader and these are male colleagues and I will not be able to, or it is difficult. No, it is not difficult. You will do a far better job. Trust me on that. The next question, and I believe this would be our last question, because we are almost ending our live show. So this is going to be our last question, but don't worry, ladies, if you have any questions, please feel free to write it down here, and we will definitely respond to you over a chat. And you can connect with me personally, and I can definitely help you out with all your questions. So this is a question. Nowadays, we don't get to see respect towards seniors. Yeah. And the one who does it gets a little misunderstood. I don't know. So how to make one understand that and avoid getting misunderstood? Okay. As I said earlier also, it is not that there is no respect towards seniors. It is still there. Like people like you, me, who probably belong to a different generation, we still have that value. And when we are working with such people, they will still respect us because if we are seniors. But millennials, yes, because as I said, the respect doesn't come nowadays from the seniority per se. Just because you are a senior, so I have to respect you. No, it doesn't come that way anymore. It's more because you are adding value to my life. You could be anyone. You could be my colleague, my peer, my junior for that matter. But if you are adding value to my life, and if I can see that you have that knowledge that I don't have, I will respect you because I want to learn. I want to grow. The exposure is so much in today's world. We have YouTube, we have slide shares, we have this LinkedIn, we have all these articles, the Harvard Business Reviews. There's a plethora of knowledge floating around us, and I can get it from anywhere. So when I am working with you, I don't want to just like that work. I also want to grow. I want to develop myself. So I want you to add to my development. And if you are doing it, I will be respecting you. And therefore, if in a world you are getting respected by your team, by your subordinates, by your colleagues, that is because you are adding value to their lives. So If you are getting, if other people are misunderstanding you for God knows whatever reason, that is their problem. As Mr. Dale Carnegie says, criticism is a disguised appreciation. So basically, they're not criticizing. They're kind of in their mind, they're feeling bad that, oh, she's getting all the respect, whereas we are not getting it. So maybe take a class, take a workshop once in a while and teach the other leaders how to get the respect. So hopefully, uh, I have been able to add some value to all you beautiful ladies. And I will take leave here because I had been given just half an hour, but it was wonderful answering all your questions, and it's wonderful to see the kind of interests that you have in your self development. And the last thing that I would like to tell you all before I leave is, please remind yourself, please have that confidence. As women, you know so very well the capabilities that we have got as women, the multitasking that we can do as women, the stakeholder management that we can do. Come on, we are managing the husbands, the children, the mother-in-laws, the parents, the extended family, the friends, the husband's friends. We are able to manage everything so well. So we already have all these skills inbuilt in us. All we need is to polish them and understand that how these skills can be applied situation basis. The personal situation, it requires some amount of art, a different science. The professional situation will require the same skill to be applied in a different way. Just polish yourselves, develop yourselves, get yourself a coach if required, get into some training sessions, get keep learning. Never say no to learning. Hopefully you enjoyed this live session as much as I did. My name is Pritha Dubey. Until next time, see you all and all the best, you gorgeous woman. Thank you very much.